Hello students. For the college comparison assignment, one thing you're asked about is if they require any specific courses before you transfer to that institution, or at least recommend them. I want to point out a few things that we'll look at more in depth next week, but it will help you answer this question. So over on the left-hand bar of our course is a link called ACP Resources, which stands for Academic Course Planning Resources. And within this, there's lots of information you're going to use when you create your academic course plan. Two that I want to highlight. One is there's an entire folder called Transfer Student Web Pages. This is organized by first the UNC system schools, which are all the public schools in North Carolina, and then private North Carolina colleges and universities. And if you go to this, like a common one in Wake County is William Peace University. If you go there, you can get some information on what William Peace is looking for. If I go back to the Transfer Student web pages, I also want to point out that the UNC system schools are all here. So let's look at East Carolina University. Some of the things you'll find in there about is how to apply, transfer criteria. This is useful for knowing if you're even considered a transfer student. But one of the most useful resources students find in this academic course plan resources is this thing that is called Baccalaureate degree plans. Some schools will also call these pathways, but as part of the CAA, the UNC system requires that all of these schools create pathways or recommendations to show students how you could complete an associate degree and get into a major and then complete your baccalaureate degree or your bachelor's degree. Baccalaureate, bachelor's, pretty much the same thing. All of the schools call these different things. You might see them called baccalaureate degree plans, abbreviated BDPs. You might see them called pathways or transfer guides. Within this folder is a link to each of the 16 universities' pathways, baccalaureate degree plans. Now they organize them in different ways. So two of the most common schools that ACA 122 students at Wake Tech want are North Carolina and ECU. So we'll look at those. So if you go to NC State, one thing I also recommend you look for here is what they look for. They've got very specifics about courses that are required before you're even considered for admission into certain degree programs. And then we can just pick any of them. I hit communications. So if we click on communications, how NC State organizes this is by semester. And so they tell you if you are going full-time, this is how you could complete it in a 4-semester sequence. And it tells you a specific math that they want. One of the questions that's relevant for the college comparison assignment is if they want any foreign language. And don't just stop whenever you see one foreign language. Notice to see how many semesters they want. So here they actually want 3 semesters of foreign language. On the second page of NC State's pathways are what you would do your junior and senior year. Just useful information to have ahead of time. Please note that the engineering pathways are down at the bottom and very similar, but of course they have very difficult engineering and physics and math courses that you'll have to take. They also, for engineering, might have special heads up of information like you'll need to complete certain classes in the summer school before you can start in the fall. So that's what NC State looks like. If we go to East Carolina University, they have this, they call them the CAA transfer degree plans, and these are organized by colleges. It helps if you know which college you're looking for, but you can probably just search and find it. Say we were looking for communication here, that's going to be probably within fine arts and communication. So click that. And it takes us down here. And ECU is interesting in that they try to offer pathways in 2 different formats. One if you're completing the Associate of Arts and one if you're completing the Associate of Science. It shouldn't be too different, but it might be useful looking at. So if we click on the AA, which is probably what most communication students are doing, this again is organized by fall and spring semester, only it looks very different. And they've got what the course counts for at ECU, what it counts for at, this is NCCCS, is North Carolina Community College System, so what it would be at Wake Tech. Some of the courses, they don't really care what you take. As long as you're taking a elective that's part of the CAA, they'll count it over there. I'll show you one more school that organizes it in a different way, which is Wilmington. None of these are better or worse, it's just different. Here's the communication degree. So notice this is completed in a completely different format. How this is organized is instead of by semester, it's by the requirement for meeting the Associate of Arts degree. So they say in all Associate of Arts degrees, you're going to need English 111 and 112. So obviously you would take those. But then within the humanities and fine arts, while the actual curriculum says it doesn't matter which 9 hours you would do, they say that they would like you to take one from art or music, one from English, and one from philosophy. This is the course at the community college over on the far left-hand side. This is what it counts at UNCW. And then it also gives you some after it goes through all the You Get See courses that are certainly very important, it says what they recommend for general education and free electives. And you don't have to hunt a little bit, but if you read closely, you'll see certain notes like they strongly recommend focusing on a foreign language with your free electives. And so things like that, it's good to know ahead of time. All of these can get kind of complicated. So if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask me, but you can see how this will be useful for helping you both answer the questions for the college comparison and also get ready for when you're creating your academic course plan.